At 9:13, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, and this morning, a warning to consumers to be on high alert so you're not asking where's the money. Scammers are getting more creative, more convincing, from fake customer service accounts on social media to phony SAT prep callers to online puppy listings that never deliver. Oh my goodness. Joining us now, Juliana O'Rourke from the Better Business Bureau. Juliana, thanks for coming in this morning.
Always happy to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you. All right, let's start with the social media, these fake accounts.
Yes.
Unbelievable, because you know what? I think everyone is on their social media more than, I don't know, anecdotally, anything else, right?
Anymore, right? You use social
Totally.
media almost as a search engine. You're looking stuff up.
Yeah.
That's where you go to complain or say you had a really great experience.
Right.
And so kind of that goes hand in hand with that is if you do have a little bit of a bad experience with somebody, you maybe post about it, you tag the company, what have you, whoever it is, an online purchasing company, maybe it's an airline, a hotel, whatever, and you post about it, you're upset, you tag them, and you kind of hope that they'll respond to you because you're upset about it. And so what you want to be careful for is if you start to receive multiple responses from different accounts. Scammers know that people do this. They are very aware that people go to social media and tag these accounts, and so they build fake customer service accounts to respond to people when they see certain accounts being tagged that are actually legitimate, but they'll respond to you as if they are the legitimate company when they're not. And so they're essentially trying to get your information, whether it's your personal information or financial information. So you just want to be really careful when you do that. To not automatically assume that it's the actual company responding to you should somebody respond.
So they are reaching back out to you from this fake account to your email, to social media?
Yeah, they could
DM?
be responding to your DM on your social media account. And so what we kind of recommend people do is, first and foremost, if you get more than one response, that's a little bit of a red flag, right? Because you're like, well, which account is legitimate? They're not going to have multiple responding to you. And then sort of look to see all of the accounts that respond to you. A lot of times the scammers have just created these accounts. They're newer. They don't have many followers. They may not have been around for a long time. And so a lot of these companies that you're going to be working with or purchasing from, they've been around for a while. Social media isn't new. They're going to have had these established accounts. You can see what other customers have tagged them. How many followers do they have? When was the account created? So those are all things you're going to want to pay attention to.
Okay.
And if you still aren't sure, go do some Google, go do some AI chatting, see what's actually legitimate, who it is, maybe contact them by customer service phone number, look that up as opposed to going on social media, because we know social media is a hotspot for scammers.
Right.
So.
Totally. You know what I've done? It wasn't so much a complaint. It was a question, like why, for an airline, like why is, this flight late? Or why is this flight sitting on the tarmac for 45 minutes? And I DM'd the airline directly.
Yes.
And so I proactively went to a legitimate company, and then they actually DM'd me back rather than putting it out there on my social media post.
And I think to your point, when you find the real company and you tag them, it should be that same tag getting back to you, not something different. They don't change up, their responses with a different account. They're all pretty standard because they want people to reach out to them through one channel, on social media. They're not going to have these 5 different accounts.
Okay. There's something here about that verification check mark on the social media account too.
So a lot of those, major companies, they're going to be verified. They'll have that little blue check mark next to their name. So that's another thing you can kind of look out for. If there is no verification check mark, that would be a little bit concerning for me. I probably wouldn't necessarily proceed with that company unless I did a lot of research and was like, okay, this is theirs. But I think I would still probably use a different avenue as well if I needed to. I mean, customer service phone numbers, you can find those pretty easily anymore. Maybe send them an email as opposed to just reaching out on social media, but you definitely have some options.
Yeah, and then what are they saying if they reach back out to you on your social media?
Yeah, so if it's a fake scammer, they may say, hey, fill out this form so that we can report your complaint, or fill out this form and give us your financial information, where we could send a refund or what have you. And then, unfortunately now they have your information and it's really not somebody you want to have your information.
Yeah, so it does look like you're getting a response and you're like, oh, yay, at least I can get this resolved real quick.
And so if you get sent a link or something like that, don't click on it, maybe hover over it, see where it actually takes you. Does it look like a legitimate link? Again, is the account legitimate? Has it been around for a while? How many followers are there? How many interactions do they have? All those types of things you want to look out for.
Okay, very good. So parents could be complaining about that. And then parents have another thing to worry about, right? College prep and their children. How are scammers potentially exploiting their anxiety, trying to get their students prepared.
Yeah, well, so we know that college students obviously prepare for SAT, ACT, all these things. They go through a company called the College Board. They're the ones that basically authorize and handle all of these tests. And so what scammers have done is they will call you pretending to be from the College Board and saying, oh, your student or your child signed up to receive these materials for prep to study, and we're going to send you CDs, books, what have you, but we need your credit card because we're going to charge you $250. That seems to be the specific amount.
Okay.
And we'll refund that money to you when you send the materials back after your student is done studying, which is a little crazy because it's like, who's actually sending that kind of stuff back? Because it just doesn't seem, once you send that stuff, it's like you buy it. So basically, people are getting scammed out of this because they're never receiving the materials. Their student never actually signed up for this. They're just scammers reaching out, but they're very convincing because they might have your child's name, your address, all these things that they can essentially find online. And so it's a little, it's very deceiving, and these parents may believe it just because they have so much of this information. But what they should do is just hang up, talk to their child. Did you sign up for something? Do the research to understand the College Board doesn't really just call you randomly like that asking for your credit card information.
Okay.
So of course we know that people do need to study materials, right? But do that research on your own. People aren't really just taking time to reach out to you.
Okay, yeah, so the College Board does not reach
No,
out to the family.
No, they're not going to call you unsolicited. They're not going to, reach out to you through those channels. Of course, if you reach out to them and want those materials, they're going to be happy to send them to you.
Right.
But it's, anytime somebody is like, oh, send me the money and then, I'll get it back to you, that's a scam. Like, the world just doesn't work like that. When you send somebody money, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. And so if for some reason you feel like, hey, they called me, it's legitimate, my child signed up, always use your credit card to pay with because at least you have a little bit of financial backing and protection. You could dispute the charges. But if you send money any other way, gift cards, peer-to-peer payments, you're going to be in trouble.
How do they know about your family and that, you have Johnny Boy going to college next year or what have you?
Yeah, scammers find everything that they want.
So they're not bots.
The dark web. No, whether it's through the dark web or public information. So much of our information is public and can be found so easily these days, whether it's through a data breach or it's just out there living. They get the information. They know all of this stuff, and it's a little concerning, right? Because you're like, how do they know all that in the first place?
It's messed up. You got too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
Get like a legitimate legal job.
I know. If only they did good, right?
Just do good.
Yes.
Just have some morals and do right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just on my Monday platforms here today. Okay. And let's talk about this National Puppy Day that's coming up.
Yeah.
So cute, so cute. But there's also with that fake pet listings.
Yes.
What's going on here?
So this is very popular, but National Puppy Day is March 23rd, and so we always talk very heavily about this now just because we know we see this all the time where puppies are posted. It's not just puppies anymore. It's like all types of animals, kittens, you name it. They're posted online. They're posted in these forums. They're so cute. They're available. They're $1,000, $800, whatever, however much they are. And what ends up happening is they're not really real. They're fake listings. They've snagged images from other sites or other sellers, and they're using these images obviously fraudulently and telling consumers, oh, they're available. We can ship them to you. We're located here. And before you know it, a consumer's like, okay, great. I want to buy this puppy. It's an $850 dog. I put down maybe $500 deposit. And then all of a sudden the person is like, well, now they need another $200 for shots. Now they need another few $100s for this, that, or the next. Oftentimes once you start paying that, then it's like, oh, now I need another $800 to ship the pet to you. And you have to pay for the crate and you have to pay for this fee and that fee. And it's like a lot of consumers don't realize until they've already spent several $100s that they're being scammed. So you want to be really careful. If you've not seen the puppy or pet in person, that's a red flag. If the person isn't going to allow you to see it in person, that's a red flag. These are all things you want to be really careful for because some of these scammers are so good at what they do, especially with pets. It's a little scary.
So it's like phishing.
Yes.
Phishing technique.
Yep, pretty much.
Just fake images.
Yeah, fake
or someone
images.
else's images.
Yeah, and so, if there is a pet or puppy or kitten or whatever it is that you find online that you want, request to see it in person. Don't just do everything online. Take that image that you found, throw it in Google, do a reverse image search to see where else is this image appearing, because oftentimes when you do that, you'll find it all over the internet. It's the same image.
I know my brother bought a puppy way back when online, and it was from a different state. Had no problem. It was fine. It was totally fine. So I don't know what he did right.
Yeah.
Because to buy, a purebred or what have you online,
Yeah.
sometimes you are going to have to bring them from out of state.
Yeah, and so I think that's just where you have to say, okay, am I willing to drive to wherever they are to see them in person first? Do not ever pay some full amount. I mean, you know, most people will require some type of a deposit, of course, to hold the puppy, but they should be very open to allowing you to come see them, check them out in person, come pick them up. I mean, there's a lot of reputable sellers online that you can do this. My sister did the same. She just bought a purebred Great Dane. He's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And he's absolutely stunning. But I can also see how, you know, there's also people that replicate that and rip people off because they're high ticket dogs. They're expensive, which is, I mean, it's crazy to me, but they're expensive.
Yeah. So at what point do most people realize they've been swindled here?
I think when it's all strictly online and it's, you know, hey, it's going to be this amount and we'll ship it this date. And then it's like, okay, you've paid the minimum deposit or whatever it is. And then a couple days before they're like, well, now we need a few $100s more for shots. Well, now we need the rest of your deposit. Oh, well, now we need, it's like they just continue to ask you for more money. And so I would say the first time that they ask you for additional money or the second time, but even before you get to that point, whomever you're purchasing from, do some extra research, throw the seller's name, the company's name, whatever, in a Google or AI chat, throw the word customer review behind it, check to see scam behind it, see what other people are saying, look up those additional images. Even you can take the text, copy a sentence or two of the text, search it and see where else it's showing up. I mean, you can really do the research behind the scenes anymore before you purchase and lose your money.
Oh my goodness. So what way do you find a reputable breeder?
I think you just have to research very, very much. And I mean, word of mouth is obviously great if you have friends that have made purchases. But I think it's really just the research and ensuring that who you're working with is legitimate. I think a lot of times, you know, people go to the internet to say what great experience they've had. If they've purchased from a breeder, they have, you know, a lot of images. But it's really just the research that you need to do.
And breeders, they probably use a what do you call it? The friend-to-friend pay version too.
Yeah,
so that's dangerous.
Yep. Anytime, you know, you want to use a credit card again, because a lot of times they're going to tell you, pay me through Cash App, pay me through a Venmo or a Zelle, or these peer-to-peer payments where as soon as you send it, it's gone. So at least if you use a credit card, you have, again, that financial backing, a little bit of protection to dispute the charge. But if you use anything like cash, peer-to-peer payment, things like that, it's kind of out of your realm. So my recommendation, I would always just say, see it in person. I mean, if it's a legitimate seller, they would agree to have you come see this in person before you purchase. And also, if they have a litter, letting you choose and go to see, hey, which one do I actually want? Like, interact with them, maybe see, you know, which one would be best suited for your home, all of those things.
All right, and then once you realize with any of these scams, once you have been swindled, what's the first thing people should do?
Yeah, so if you have used your credit card or anything like that, maybe put a freeze on your credit, check your credit report just to be sure nobody has opened anything else in your name. Of course, report it to us at BBB. We have a really great tool, Scam Tracker, bbb.org/scam tracker. It allows us to see, hey, what's going on in our commonality, because some of the examples I've just given you are actually local individuals that have reported
really?
scams.
Do you want to call them out?
Yeah, I know, right? So, actually,
warn our fellow Carolinians in the area.
So, the puppy scam, that's legitimate. The person I'm referring to lost $1,400. They tried to get her for almost $3,000, and it took her a little ways to realize, you know, she was being scammed, but she finally got there and stopped providing her information and more money, which it just breaks your heart because you're
cut her losses a little bit.
Yeah, because you're like, dang, she was looking to find a companion, her and her mom, and her mom wasn't doing so great. And then, you know, now they're scamming out all this money, and it's like, well, that was the money they were going to use to actually get a pet. Now they don't have those funds to buy a legitimate, you know, dog or puppy or what have you. And there's a lot of, especially with puppy scams, there's a lot of breeds that are specific that scammers, for whatever reason, target in on. It's like these smaller versions of dogs, maybe the teacup poodles.
Well, they're boutique, so you can charge
right.
more.
How did you find Turkey?
Use a rescue.
See, just go to a rescue.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I do. But hey, to each their own.
Right.
But yeah, it's like these small, like she said, boutique breeds, or they could be these high-end expensive breeds, like these purebreds and things like that. So you just want to be really careful.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we do. We have to be careful all the time. All right. Juliana O'Rourke from the Better Business Bureau, we thank you for joining us. Nice, in-depth conversation on this Monday morning. Get you started off the right foot. Be wary out there, because there are people ready to take advantage of the most vulnerable. We're going to take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC+.